Matthew, we got some huge recruiting news out of USC. Let's talk about it after the stinger. It's Felix Sharpe and Matt Bruening for campus2canton.com. I hope you like the video. I hope you like what we're doing to grow the college fantasy game, particularly in this instance, the Campus to Canton game, where you can draft any of your college, your favorite college football players, and you have a college roster. And when your college players declare for the NFL draft, they're added to your NFL roster. That's why we love Campus to Canton leagues, because stuff like this, Matthew, that happened about 20 minutes ago, it matters. We got Juju Lewis decommitting from USC and Husan Longstreet flipping from Texas A&M to USC. This could have implications, across the board, including wherever Juju Lewis decides to commit to next.
Yeah, so this is massive for both teams. I'll start with the Texas A&M side because that's probably going to be quicker to get through. With Husan Longstreet flipping, that likely now leaves us with Marcel Reed and likely Miles O'Neal, who is a true freshman that we actually got to play in the game Saturday for a little bit, as we expect Connor Wigman will likely hit the portal. Leaves Texas A&M's room wide open. This coaching staff was pursuing Husan Longstreet, so the fact that they flipped him is a big deal. Going over to the USC side, Juju Lewis decommitting, I actually think makes sense from both sides. Juju Lewis is not your typical Lincoln Riley quarterback. He's a guy kind of a lot like what we saw out of Miller Moss. He's very accurate with the ball, but a pocket passing quarterback, not a guy who's really you're going to see run around a lot, make plays with his legs.
Similar to Shedeur Sanders?
Possibly. So I don't know. Overall, and you can go check this out at campus2canton.com. What we have Shedeur Sanders listed as an athlete. Juju Lewis comes in as a .147. That's very, very low in our athlete index. And his arm velocity, which we also track, is only set at a 52, which is with guys like Kellen Moore, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jordan Travis, it can be an NFL arm, but not the type that you want to see. When we're talking about Husan Longstreet, this is a guy that Lincoln Riley has typically had. So just going on the arm part, 58. In high school, Josh Allen was at a 62. So, there's still a little bit of a difference. We're talking about a very powerful arm. He can challenge all three levels of the field. Matches up there with guys like Steve Young, Michael Vick, and Kyler Murray in high school. Very, very strong arm. On top of that, as I mentioned, he can buy time with his legs. He's a very good runner. He can throw off platform, out of structure. He does a really good job, specifically this year with those RPOs where he sells the run, keeps his eyes down, and then makes the right throw. He throws with anticipation. And there are reports by him, I believe all the recruiting services, they believe he has the strongest arm in this class. And again, very accurate throwing the ball down the field, can challenge all three levels of the field. What we saw out of Jaden Maiava in his first game with USC against Nebraska, I think you could see that and then some with Husan Longstreet because of how strong his arm is. And he's also a bigger guy. I was trying to pull up real quick. He is listed at 6'1", 195. And he plays at Centennial High School in California. So the fact that he was going all the way to Texas A&M was kind of weird to begin with. The flip to USC, I think Lincoln Riley landed a great quarterback. He's my QB3 in this class right now. He's still a tier 1 quarterback as well. I have him above Deuce Knight, who Auburn just got, who they really love. So I think it's going to be a great, great move for him and USC. And then just going back really quick to Juju Lewis, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. There was a lot of talk about him possibly going to Indiana. He was a guy that they were really in on. And a lot of that was because of NIL. The other school, and interestingly enough that you mentioned Shedeur Sanders, that has been in on him, is Colorado. If Deion stays, could the offense continue? Hey, there's rumors that he might leave, right? If Deion stays, and then so does the offensive coordinator, most of that staff, dude, does the offense even take that much of a step back if a Juju Lewis comes in there and replaces Shedeur Sanders, who's likely going into the NFL? I doubt he comes back. It's going to be really interesting to see, but I think it's a massive flip in the recruiting circles, especially for USC. Lincoln Riley getting his quarterback, and now we wait to see what Juju does. Because again, Curtis Rourke's gone from Indiana too, and I think Kurt Cignetti has really shown us that he can run a very good offense for that Big Ten schedule. So if Juju Lewis goes there too, I think he'll be just fine because he kind of fits what Curtis Rourke has been doing as well. So wherever he goes, I think it's going to be interesting. Colorado or Indiana, world is wide open now for Juju Lewis. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens.
Imagine us talking about Colorado and Indiana getting a player of the caliber of Juju Lewis. We also like Tyler Cherry. there at Indiana. So Indiana stacking up quarterback recruits. The 2025 freshman and supplemental draft guide, including profiles on guys like Husan Longstreet and Juju Lewis, will be released March 1st of 2025. You can go to campus2canton.com and download the 2024 version if you want to. Matthew, now again, we need to emphasize that we're considering these players from a fantasy perspective. In Campus to Canton leagues, you have a full college roster, a full NFL roster, and obviously that carrot on the top, or that cherry on the top, if your player declares for the NFL draft, gets high round draft capital, et cetera, et cetera. Where do you think Juju Lewis and Husan Longstreet will be ranked amongst your quarterbacks overall going into 2025? So once we add the 2025 freshman class to the entire player pool, where will Juju Lewis and Husan Longstreet be ranked amongst guys like Dylan Royola, DJ Lagway, those types of guys?
So Juju Lewis, I will say, will come in much lower than Husan Longstreet. Juju Lewis, I think, will probably be in my top 30 overall, but I would not have him really close to the top 10. Athletic comps come into guys like the best probably name on his list is Kevin Jennings, who we've seen play fairly well for SMU this year. Longstreet, if he goes to USC, even though I expect will probably sit at least 1 year behind Jaden Mayav, at least, again, we're one game sample size, so small sample size, but I think Mayava can hold on to that job, and we won't see the freshman take over right away. Husan Longstreet might come into my top 10. I mean, again, when you're talking about athletic comparisons, I probably should have led with this earlier when I brought it up to him. Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson, Jalen Milroe. That's the kind of athlete we are talking about here. Again, then paired with an extremely strong arm. And the difference.
And that's per our database at campus2canton.com.
Yes, correct. Yes, which, get in. I think you have to play for the $4.99 one a month, not the $2.99 to get the athletic comparisons. It's well worth it just on that side of things. The main difference between what I will say at Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson side of things, he gets the ball out quick like Lamar. He doesn't have that elongated throwing motion like Justin Fields does. So he will likely be in my top 10. Me and Austin talked about this recently. Bryce Underwood will be in my top 5 quarterbacks coming in as a true freshman. Then the only other tier 1 quarterbacks in this class I have are Taven St. Clair, who's going to Ohio State, and then it's Husan Longstreet. All tier 1. I think he will likely come into my top 10. I'd argue he might come in at 7 or 8. Like, he will be that high because I believe in just the talent overall already, and then the athletic comparisons that he has. Again, arm strength is out of this world.
Major implications for Lewis, major implications for Longstreet, major implications in college football recruiting overall. Let us know what you think in the comments. Peace.